everyone, welcome to Buddyfight episode 36, aka Shipping Edition.
Also known as Nudist to Beach.
Yes, Nudist to Beach! Because my new favorite character has entered the show.
And oh my god, what is with Buddyfight and doing this to this in general?
I don't know what it is. It's like they're mandatory to have one flamboyantly gay character on screen.
Like, I don't even know what he isn't. He's just so... oh my god. Like... I don't even know what to start. Hey, Frankie took his clothes off in front of children.
Let's begin. That's a good place to start. So yeah, episode starts with the episode referencing a woman we probably haven't seen for 35 episodes is on maternity leave. It's their math teacher, and they're like, so you're gonna have Elf, I think his last name's Kabbalah?
Who cares? That's not the part that...
Yeah, but anyway, they're like, Elf! An elf! We're gonna have an elf teaching us! So they all start imagining this sexy woman, and I accidentally paused the area at the wrong time, so she said, who would like to try to measure the area of my... And then I paused it, and Rico immediately turns over and goes, her breasts? But no, it was her wings. Who wants to measure the area of my wings?
Not nearly as good. And they could have done it. It's not like they've done, you know, more weird-ass things in this show.
Not allowed to have females.
It's a very same episode, no less.
But yeah, so then Elf shows up, aka you guys know him as the giant flaming man from the evil group.
You know what I think about it? They do stuff like that in the comics plenty enough.
Yeah.
So they could have just done it, and it would have not mattered at all.
I would have laughed so hard if they did. But yeah, so Elf shows up, and everyone's like, oh, it's a dude. But anyway, so he shows up, and he's like, well, I didn't plan a lesson plan, even though I knew I was going to substitute Cheech, because I was at the gym, but, who wants to guess how many ab crunches I can do? And he proceeds to open his chest and do the nudist beach pose. And then wink.
All was missing was the... shirt tweening off of him.
Yeah, that and the nipples. He doesn't have nipples.
He doesn't have glowing nipples or nipples at all.
But yeah, he totally did the nudist beach pose.
Yes, we get to him.
So, I'm sorry, but it was great. And all the kids are just like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we see Tetsuya. He's late for class. So he sneaks in, and then everyone's like, Tetsuya, your class is 1 over. And Tetsuya's like, I'm sorry, I'm sleepy, man. And then, Elf is like, oh wait, you kids like to buddy fight at this school, right? Does anyone have a buddy? And then everyone's like, well, the only person in this class who's normally in this class who has a buddy is Gao. And, so the principal's like, oh, hey, that's perfect. And then Gao's like, yeah, I'd love to fight you. I want to test. And then the principal comes in and goes, think again. There shall be no shenanigans in my classroom. So then, Gao's like, Gao's like, aw, I really wanted to test my ultimate dungeon deck. And then the principal hones in on the word ultimate, like just it echoes in his brain, and he's like, you dare use the word ultimate dungeon in my presence?
He is just...
Yeah, he's foaming at the mouth at this point. And so then he's like, I'll teach you all a lesson, and proceeds to rip his shirt off, turn around, and show that he has the word scold tattooed on his back. And then he transports everyone to the Shadow Realm.
Because, you know, he can do that.
Yeah, he can just do this. Man has a freaking hand for a head and can transport people to the Shadow Realm. Oh my god, I just realized the principal is really, really old Pegasus. I mean, he covers his one eye. Oh god. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, he takes them to this cloudy room of Shadow Realminess, and they're like, oh man, I wish we had a light, and Kuguru's like, I do! And somehow this illuminates the entire room. I guess he turned on the lights at the exact time, but at first I was just like, dang, how do you carry those on your head? How is everyone not blind? But then they're in a giant dungeon, and the principal's like, welcome to my dungeon I just built for fun! And,
free time.
He does have a lot of free time. And, he's like, none of you can leave until you beat me in a buddy fight. And everyone's like, oh, the principal's a buddy fighter? And it's like, the school is based off of buddy fighting, and you don't think the man who founded it could possibly be a buddy fighter. Like,
No, that would
everyone
make
is
sense.
everyone is shocked by this. Ugh.
Absolutely shocked. And I'm like, how could you be that surprised? It's like a freaking commodity. There's a freaking police force out there based around this game. I think it's not that surprising.
So yeah, Paruko then tweens into the room.
Really badly, I mean.
Really badly. It just whoop, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna start commentating. And then everyone else is like, do we really have to stay and watch this match? I'd really like to just go home. So they try to leave, and it turns out the dungeon loops back in on themselves, and the principal's
Oh,
like...
you forgot to. They had Scooby-Doo music the
Oh,
whole time.
they had Scooby-Doo chase music as they're running. Just like,
Sometimes I question the decisions of this show.
So, yeah, he's like, none of you are allowed to leave until one of you beats me, and it's like, okay, so
Alright, so we moved on to kidnapping.
Yeah, the principal has kidnapped these children, is holding them against their will, and will not let them leave until they beat him in a card game.
Yep.
How is this man not arrested? But yeah, so, then, Gao's like, well, I guess I have to fight him. And, Paruko also realizes, oh crap, now I'm stuck here too. And the principal gets on his cell phone and calls up his buddy, Gnarly.
Gnarly.
And he's just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm just fighting some kids in my dungeon. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, that's cool. And I'm just like, you're casually having a conversation while kidnapping children. This show.
Yeah, you know, just took some kids against their will and are keeping them in a dungeon until they can get themselves out. Well, how's your day?
I think I'm gonna throw one of them into a pit and force them to roll lotion on their skin. So then it turns out that his buddy is the size 3 demon from
Garnar or something
yeah,
like that?
Garnar or something. I'm just gonna call him Gnarly because I cannot remember his full name for the life of me. The names in this game are so long. But yeah, it turns out he and Asmodai are friends, and they're just like, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in forever. How you doing? Being evil? Yeah, not as evil as you, though. We're demons. And Tetsuya looks at Asmodai and he's like, you're friends with this freaking crazy, weird, evil demon dude? And Asmodai proceeds to quack at him.
Wow.
He's just
It's not like a smirk, but it's like,
he just goes like, eh. Doesn't even answer, just goes, eh. So, after that, Paruko is like, oh man, we gotta stay here and beat this guy. Gal, beat this guy, I gotta go home and watch my soaps. And she's like, but I'm going to put all my heart into my commentating even though I'm held against my will. And she proceeds to do her buddy fight thing, and the principal goes, there was no heart in that, do it again! She's like, oh, sorry sir, buddy fight! And he's like, no, do it again! And he proceeds to make her do it like 7 times to the point of where her voice starts cracking. And Gao's just like, oh god, we're gonna be here forever.
I'm surprised they didn't have to commit it after that. Like a normal person would when they're bringing anybody kidnaps them against their will.
He kidnaps like 20 children, forces them to scream buddy fight over and over in a dungeon.
Oh my god.
This episode,
Exactly.
kidnapping children and flashing them with your chest.
What is up with this show?
So yeah, it then cuts to Negi no Yama is roaming the hallways, and he's like, the
Because he doesn't have anything else to do, apparently.
Yeah, he's just roaming the hallways. He's like, oh, the principal told me to meet him here, but no one's here. And then he peeks in the classroom and all the desks are gone. And he's like, where is everyone? Is this a joke? You can come out now.
Please, I don't like being alone. Hello?
Yeah, but then it comes back to the room, and then Elf also realizes, he's like, oh god, I just realized I'm kidnapped here too. Oh, why?
Oh, woe is me.
Yeah, woe is me.
Oh, there's the rub.
Yeah, so then, principal starts first, calls a card, that, attacks Gao, does 2 points of damage and whatnot. So then it's Gao's turn, and he calls Baku, and everyone's like, oh, look, Baku, it's Baku! And Baku's like, yeah! This is one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, those things got done well. Love it.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, why are they legal if, you know, they're one-of-a-kind cards?
Yeah.
I think someone would question it. And before anyone says anything about the Sunfist, they said it was a very rare card. They didn't say it was a one-of-a-kind card. There's a difference.
Yeah. So then he also calls Tetsuya, and Tetsuya proceeds to dance with himself, which was kind of funny. Because they're just like, yo! Yo!
Yo.
Yeah, so...
I remember that from the first episode. It was so stupid.
It was. I haven't danced like that since 1999!
Okay, I hated that too.
So, then, Gao's like, okay, Baku and Tetsuya, link attack! And the real ones are just like, yeah! And then Kuguru's like, not you two, he means the cards. And they're just like, oh, we wanted the link attack. So, they do that, and then, Gao also has a the Brave Sword equipped, so he attacks. And then it's the principal's turn, and he uses Cecilia's spell to wrap up the sword and make it pop into confetti.
That is so silly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I expected it to be a lot more, you know,
majestic,
considering it's a goddess's spell. But, you know, whatever party ball popping is acceptable to, I guess.
Yeah, so then Buddy calls Gnarly into Fate Skeleton, and they destroy Tetsuya. And by the way, Asmodai has like some of the best lines in this episode, because he then proceeds to go, "Poor Tetsuya, he was so young," and the real Tetsuya just looks at him and goes, "I'm not dead, man."
Not dead yet.
And then Gnarly turns enormous and steps on Gao. So it's
they
like
did not want, they wanted you to use some extra budget on him doing something, but they didn't want to actually do an actual fancy magic attack. So they're like, yeah, just make him big and step.
Yeah.
Very fast, very easy, done.
Yeah. So then he calls it's Gao's turn again. He calls Kuguru, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, it's Kuguru!" And Kuguru's just like, "Hey!" And then I think Tetsuya's like, "Oh man, I love her outfit," and Asmodai proceeds to say, "Mine's better." So then Gao's like, okay, you two link attack, and Baku's like, oh, ready to go, Brainy? And she goes, I prefer you call me Sage. And then they hold hands and skip. And this is where the episode turns into shipping the episode. So they're skipping along, everyone's like, oh, it's so cute, they're in love! And then Tetsuya looks at the real Baku and goes, why don't you two ever actually hold hands? And he's like, they're just cards, they're just representations of us, they're not really us! And Kukuru's just like, oh, it's so cute! And Elf proceeds to sneak up behind them, put his hands on their shoulders and goes, there's no need to be embarrassed. Because love can conquer all. And, oh, by the way, Elf has a freaking dancing thing that he does every time he wants to say something's beautiful. He spins around on one foot and then goes like this.
Just like Duck Hunt Dog. Oh yeah, by the way, just a quick mention. I'm so happy that those leaks were proven to be right for real this time. Because, you know, Smash is out in Japan and all that.
Yes.
Duck Hunt is pretty great. Especially his final Smash, if you haven't seen it yet. It's on my DEA. He has a firing squad that is apparently choreographed by John Woo. Kill the person. Continue.
Yeah. So, Elf proceeds to say that love is beautiful! And, then, the principal proceeds to blow up their love.
You don't like your love.
I don't like it! Like in giant
I'm gonna wreck it.
So then, everyone's like, oh, he blew up the love. And then, Kuguru's all sad and stuff, and she's like, I love a good romance, and now it's gone. And Baku proceeds to curl up in a little ball on the floor, and everyone's like, oh, he really does love her. And then he goes, no, I'm just hungry, I prefer food over love any day. So Kuguru, in rage, proceeds to rip all the bananas off of Tetsuya's head and shove them down Baku's throat. Well, Tetsuya's going, ah, my hair, she stole my hair. my bananas.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell already, this episode is filled to the brim with nothing.
It is filler to the max.
Absolutely nothing going on all the time.
Yeah, so then, Gnarly is about to attack Gao again, but he uses, the shield card, Spell of Sarshala, I think? Yeah, so he uses that, and Gnarly falls backwards onto the principal, crushing him. And then they get into a fight because he's like, why did you fall on me? He's like, I don't know, it was a counter spell. Maybe you should, I don't know, do something to make it not happen. And he's like, what are you saying? And they start getting in a fight. They're like, these are adults. And it's like, no, they're crazy old men.
That's what I said.
Yes, I know, that's why I used it. Because he did say that during the episode. Yeah, so they're beating up each other, and then Gao's like, well, I'm gonna summon Drum and also my brave sword again. And he goes and tries to penetrate Gnarly. And so they got a rock, paper, scissors. And dear God, does the principal look intense for like 3 seconds. And it's like, oh man, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Gao wins. Gao always wins.
Yeah, he literally can't lose. Did
you expect something else?
Hope you didn't. If you did by now, you're stupid.
But yeah, so Gao wins. Everyone's like, yay, we can go home. And Gnarly's like, okay, that was fun. I'll see you later. You have fun with your class and whatnot. And he turns into bats and flies off. And Tetsuya looks at Asmodee and says, like, are demons really evil? You guys seem kind of nice. And Asmodee actually reveals something kind of funny that's just kind of like lore building that I kind of like. Apparently demons are outed for having human friends, so they're considered even more terrible for being friends with humans. So Asmodee said, so I guess that makes me the worst of all.
Even though freaking Gnarly friends with the principal.
Yeah. I guess he's just saying his friendship with Tetsuya is better than theirs.
That doesn't mean anything. They're still friends.
Yeah.
unless they're implying that Tetsuya and him are romantically involved, which would be a whole...
I wouldn't put it beyond this show.
Which would be a whole different can of worms at that point. It's really not a difference.
He freaking ripped Tetsuya in half.
That's my point now. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so, now I'm thinking about it. Stop it. Okay. So then he teleports them back to the classroom, and Negio no Yama is in the corner in the shadows just with, like, glaring eyes like, Principal, you were supposed to be here! And, freaking bitches him out and stuff, and then everyone's like, I wonder who would win in a buddy fight between them!
Oh, freaking wonder who.
So then, Elf leaves the room and casually passes the council,
president?
Yeah, the president, sorry, and he's like, so did you watch Gao fight? And he's like, yeah, I did. I'm totally going to convert him. So I'm like, oh,
wreck him.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna wreck him. And I'm like, oh, Leaf's gonna seduce Gao. And that's where the episode ends. Next, I won't say next episode yet. Overall thoughts. This was an incredibly pointless episode, and I loved it.
As usual, it's pointless. But at least it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Nowhere near as good as last episode, but this was a really fun episode. I really like Elf. I keep calling him Leaf on accident, but his name is Elf. I think it's the green hair and the flowers, but yeah, I really like him. He's fun. He's new to speech. He's flamboyant. He's probably the best replacement for Axia we're gonna get until Axia stops being bust.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as far as flamboyant villains go, he's probably one of the most interesting interpretations, because usually when you have a flamboyant villain, they're like incredibly obviously evil, but he's
Pegasus level.
Yeah, they're Pegasus levels, but he's not. He's just flamboyant and actually seems like a decent person, which makes me really wonder, why is he on the evil side? So that has me intrigued. We had some really...
Don't let it intrigue you, Em. You know there's no actual answer at the end of that rainbow.
Yeah, I shouldn't get my hopes up. I don't know. It's the more and more I watch the show, the more I realize that they do filler way better than actual plot. It's actually kind of sad.
It's really sad, dude, because you'll never get a good one, which really makes me think they should just stop trying to have a plot.
Yeah, they really should just make the villains Team Rocket. Do this Pokemon style.
Do that, or just have it be tournament arcs.
Yeah.
There's really no shame in tournament arcs being the big boss of the seasons. Well, everything else, dude, is just... You basically think first season Vanguard before the Psyqualia thing happened.
It's like, I remember we really wanted that show.
I thought it was going to be at first, like, yeah, there was a Buddy Police, but it's like, it seemed at the time that all they really did was stop losers, so it would be eventually get, occasionally get street battles, and that's about it. I was just really hoping they wouldn't go any further than that, but I knew it would go that way. It always does. We have yet to get a card game that actually sticks to a just normal card playing thing, dude. Maybe with some intensity, but otherwise it's just a thing that exists. And they can do it.
Like Higaru no Go.
Sure. But I mean, but the point I'm trying to make is you can do it without superpowers too if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And this isn't a card game example, but look at things like Ice Shield and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Ice Shield is considered one of the best sports manga ever.
They're just playing football. It's just really intense football. Just make it really intense card games.
Yeah, just ham it up.
All. Same thing with Hajime no Ippo and all that other stuff. Just make it really intense, and it'll be fun. You don't have to make these end of the world
scenarios.
Or if you go, do it like once and then never look back. Don't do it every single season.
Yeah. Overall, though, the pretty good episode.
Fine.
Yeah, this was a fine episode. It was not disappointing. We knew it was going to be filler, and
because they always are.
Yeah, there was also a lot of really good jokes in this episode. I found myself laughing a couple times. So yeah, final thoughts. I would say you can totally skip this episode if you want to, but if you just want something nice to watch, it's a good one.
Yeah, I was expecting to be really disappointed because last week's episode was right up my alley, and knowing this show, it usually can't do lightning twice in a row, if it's really good lightning, that is.
Yeah.
So I was expecting it to be the worst thing ever, and luckily I was wrong on that because I was actually somewhat enjoying the new character.
Yeah.
Especially because looking at him,
You kind of looking at him, you can kind of like assume what he's going to be like, and he actually turned out not to be. He had one part of it, yes, he's still flamboyant as fuck, but...
that and it was kind of not expecting the whole flashing a room full of 12-year-olds his naked body. But other than that, it was fine. Yeah, that's kind of a deal breaker for most people when you try to show your naked body to children, but usually people kind of frown on that, but other than that, it was fine.
So yeah, next episode, the glasses girl of the group is going to be fighting Gao.
Whoever that is.
Yeah. I wrongfully assumed Rico knew who she was.
Implying I was even looking at the screen at that point. That episode literally was nothing.
But yeah, so next episode she's going to fight Gao. She seems very tsundere. She looks very cute. She looks like red-haired Hermione with her glasses off and with her hair down.
I thought you mentioned Tetsuya somewhere.
Yeah, oh yeah, Tetsuya is actually going to be fighting her. I'm sorry. I just assume Gao's going to be fighting everyone because that's what he does.
Well, he doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Now other people actually do things, dude. It's just...
So...
Yeah.
Maybe new cards for 72 Pillars? I'm kind of hoping. They showed Hero World for no reason, even though it's not coming out in the announced set so far.
Hey, you know they can change it whenever they want. They've already done that, like, what, twice already for Booster 4? Or was it Extra Booster 2? One of those two.
Yeah, it was for Booster 3. They changed it like 3 times for that.
Booster 3's already out, man.
I know, but I
Booster 4 has Legend World now.
Yeah,
more Legend World cards than we
thought
we were being told. And I think there's another thing that happened that had other cards that we weren't expecting to be in there.
I can't remember off the top.
I can't remember it either. But they have a track record, is my point.
Yeah.
Like Extra Booster 2 having Ancient World until they didn't.
Yeah.
Or Booster 2 was supposed to have something also that it didn't end up having.
Danger World. It was supposed to have Danger World.
Wait,
and then...
Yeah, wait, Booster, what? 2, yeah. I thought 2 had things in it. It had the lizard. And the wall lizard.
No, it was Booster 3 that was supposed to have Danger World and then didn't.
Right. And then Extra Booster 2 was supposed to have Ancient World and it didn't.
Yeah.
And then, pretty sure Legend World was only supposed to get so many cards and then they got more cards.
Yeah.
in Booster 4 coming up.
They have so many cards.
And then I feel like there's another thing that was just added to Booster 4 that no one was expecting.
For life of me, I can't remember.
I don't really care
Either way,
anymore.
they have a track record.
They have a record for just changing it. They could just throw in Hero World in Booster 4 for all we know.
Yeah, that'd be a big booster. But anyway, so we already talked about Smash. Gallade has inner focus. Dear God, why?
Gallade has inner focus. I hope you enjoy being worse than Mega Metacham and Mian Xiao at your job. Regular Mian Xiao too, because remember, at least he's probably going to be faster, and he doesn't need a Mega Stone, so you can say that Mega Stone for someone else.
It hurts. It hurts to be Gallade right now.
Yeah, it just ain't do unless they do, you know, break the usual pattern. You know, since God of War and Gallade are cloned with stats, except for the attack stats are switched around.
Yeah.
Hopefully they won't clone the amount of stat distribution he gets.
Yeah.
And it'll give him more speed, because he's going to need to be faster than a Jolly...
Metacham in order to do anything.
Because huge power makes that attack really big. He's going to have to be bigger than that.
He's got to step up his game.
Yeah, because there's no way because it's like, who cares if you have inner focus to stop the Mega Mom when you can just freaking use Min Xiao and fake it out before it can fake you out, and then it doesn't get to go off anyway. And then you return it back into your party so it can regenerate with its regenerator. A lot of fans of Gallade were pretty upset by that.
Yeah, that and Mega Camerupt and Mega Sharpedo were announced. Camerupt is now
in terms of their designs, they were just terrible.
Yeah, Camerupt is now a Roomba, and Sharpedo, what did they do to you?
At least his horn things that retract into his head.
Yeah, Sharpedo is actually one of my favorite sweepers.
On the plus side, dude, design aside, Sharpedo is a beast.
Yeah. Speed Boost 1 turn Mega Evolve and start wrecking.
Yep, because he get, what was it?
Strong Jaw!
Yeah, Strong Jaw. So his bite moves, the 2 he has, but he'll probably get more from tutors, are going to be massive.
Alright, so that's about it. Until next time, see y'all later!
See ya, everybody.
Bye-bye!